He's got to play at the Memorial. He's doing that in Ohio. It's one of his favorite subjects, tournaments to be able to play. He's got to be able to get out there and practice.
All right, and with that, it's time to plan for Pebble, presented by Baird. Tiger Woods has the third best odds to win the U.S. Open, trailing only Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson. All right, see, let's hear it. Go, expand. How do you like his chances?
This is the thing. Tiger's got to be able to play before that. All right, now I understand at this age, 43, and with the back surgery and everything, he can only practice so much, but the win at the Masters took a lot out of him. Didn't do a lot of practicing, actually withdrew from the big tournament down there in Charlotte that he was trying to play in, so I believe his chances increase if he can play at the Memorial, which is the last week of May and the first week in June.
All right. Awesome.
I like he's third favorite right now, Vegas.
He's going to win.
Everyone, Nick. He wins ever. He's going to win everyone. Time for stories to start your morning. The Patriots have reportedly signed Julian Edelman to a 2-year extension. It includes $12 million in guaranteed money for the 3-time Super Bowl champ. CC, good move by the Pats?
Absolutely. He's their best wide receiver. He's earned it. In the last several years, man, the Pats, man, they was barely paying him. They was threatening him if he tried to hold out for more money that they would release him. So they've always kept their slot receivers on a tight leash. Since Troy Brown, they haven't compensated him. Wes Welker, he had problems there getting paid. So I'm happy for the Super Bowl MVP. If you look at your boy Cole Beasley was got like $27 million from Buffalo.
I know. I mean, he was scheduled to make $2 million.
Yeah, that's not a misprint.
It's not much over the veteran minimum for a guy who's been in the league as long as Edelman. Even if you think he's a product of their system, he is Brady's favorite and most reliable target now that Gronk's...
Jenna, one of my favorite things I say, cheap meat ain't good. Not the case with Edelman. He's been real cheap.
And he's been real good. He's been real good. And now he gets a salary a little more commensurate with his skills.
All right, to the NBA now. On Monday, Magic Johnson listed all the reasons why he abruptly quit on the Lakers. Now reports are coming out that LeBron's camp is concerned that all that dysfunction will sabotage free agency. Nick, how did the Lakers land a big name this summer?
Well, Chris has a really good way to shortcut this entire thing where you don't have to do any recruitment. So I'm going to go on the other side and let you elaborate on that. For me, if it's about free agent, not about a trade, then it is all about LeBron convincing someone to come. Because people talk about, oh, is LeBron going to be a negative? The only reason someone at this point would sign with the Lakers is to play alongside LeBron. So whether that's rekindling things with Kyrie, talking to Kimba and saying, hey, you have no playoff moments. Come have some in Los Angeles. That's the best strategy as far as free agency goes, as far as trades go.
Best strategy free agency-wise, make a trade. Because then you don't have all those incompetent people that have to get in the room. You just have to make a trade with David Griffin, with the New Orleans Pelicans, come to an agreement, and then try to get one of those second or third tier free agents. Because this is like VIP service in the club, Jenna. Like, they got different levels. You got bottle service, you know, what they're going to provide. Like, hey, listen, if you don't get Kawhi, if you don't get Kyrie, let me tell you what you're on. You ain't getting the same type of service that you get with the black card. You're getting something else. I don't believe that Kimba and Jimmy...
What is happening?
Hey, okay.
I got it. He doesn't believe that Kimba and Jimmy get you into that upper tier VIP status that you're accustomed to.
Where I am. That's what I'm used to, CC. Back to the Eastern Conference Finals now. Toronto took down Milwaukee 120-102 to even up the series in 2 games apiece. With a hobbled Kawhi Leonard, the Raptors bench outscored Milwaukee 48-23. Nick, can the Raptors supporting cast continue to carry them? The one we haven't seen much of.
We now know there's going to be a Game 6, and whether it's 3-2 Toronto or 3-2 Milwaukee, I think you can rely on the supporting cast show up again in Game 6 at home. Now, Game 5 in Milwaukee, they're going to need Kawhi to be able to do what he had done earlier in the series, which is be great on both ends. Last night, Kawhi and Siakam were expending the lion's share of their energy on the defensive end, relying on those others to provide the offense. I don't think that will get it done in Milwaukee, but no matter what happens the rest of the series, this was a tremendous win for Toronto that now turns the series to look like it was going to be a blowout into a best of 3.
Also, you have to mention Kyle Lowry. He steps up as their second best player. Siakam, a young player, was really thriving round 1. Round 2 has been slowed a little bit with Giannis and the competition that they present at the forward position for him, and then the others. It set the stage because the way Milwaukee's defense is set up. No one gave up more open looks from three-point land than them. So now if they start hitting these shots, you can't be surprised that Toronto had open shots. Now you might say based on the playoffs, you're surprised those others made them. I believe getting Kawhi back to being healthy, because I believe one of those games in Milwaukee, Kawhi needs to be able to win that game by himself. So I look forward to seeing this series play out like I thought it was going to be a long series, Nick.
All right. Nick makes the list.
Okay.
Steph Curry had one of the best four-game stretches of his career, averaging over 37 points per game while sweeping the Blazers in the Western Conference Finals. Iggy called Curry the second greatest point guard ever. So today, Nick, you're ranking the best point guards in NBA history.
And I'm going to keep it to a top 5, because after the top 5, there's a lot of room for argument. Jason Kidd, Bob Cousy, Gary Payton, Chris Paul. So let's go top 5. Number 5. How about a guy who, while he never won a league MVP, never won a championship, no one in NBA history has more assists. No one in NBA history has more steals. That guy's name is John Stockton. If he didn't have to run into Michael Jordan and those dynastic Bulls teams, he would have at least one championship. See, he had a 10-year stretch, 10 years, where he averaged 16 and 13. That's what won Steve Nash an MVP. He averaged that for 10 years.
And he might be the toughest guy on the list. I got a pretty good feeling those other names on it. Tough, pound for pound, one of the toughest guys that's ever played in the NBA.
Speaking of tough guys, pound for pound, number 4, Zeke, friend of the show, Isaiah Thomas. I believe one of the most underrated guards in NBA history, because he didn't win a league MVP. He did win a finals MVP. He is a 2-time champion, and he bridged the gap. We can't, much like Moses Malone bridged the gap between Kareem and Magic and Bird, Zeke bridged the gap between Magic and Bird and Michael Jordan. 3 consecutive trips to the NBA Finals, winning 2 rings. Maybe the biggest reason Jordan doesn't have 7 or 8 of them is because they couldn't get through Detroit. Isaiah Thomas, number 4.
And I do believe Isaiah is one of the few players that in any era he would have been successful, because I believe with the three-point line taking over, Isaiah would have had unlimited range shooting the basketball. So I agree with you, him being number 4.
And one of the toughest guys ever. Number 3, this is where Steph is right now. He could move up at least 1 spot. Don't know if he could move up 2, but Steph Curry, 2-time MVP, 3-time champion, and we can now say the biggest piece of one of the 5 greatest dynasties in NBA history, the current era of the Golden State Warriors. I understand why people would want to already place him in the top 2. I don't think he's topped the next 2 names you're going to hear, but he absolutely could. And for Steph, Chris, so much of that's going to be about what he does once Durant leaves. What if they win a championship next year when Durant's not there? Steph right now, number 3.
And I believe because he's going to be able to score at a level no one on this list is able to score the basketball, he's going to have the opportunity to ascend. I do believe Steph Curry could end up being the number 2. Iggy's not right today, but he could be right.
Number 2, though, right now is Oscar Robertson. A league MVP, a champion. First 8 years of his career, averaged 30, 9, and 11. For 8 years, once he entered the league, 9-time first-team All-NBA. Number 2 is Oscar, and number 1, obviously,
Bob Cousy. Oh, sorry. It's not. You do your thing. You're better at it. Go.
Magic Johnson, 3-time league MVP, 3-time finals MVP, 5-time champion, 9 first-team All-NBAs. There are many debates in sports. I don't think this is a debate. I think even Iggy, when he's trying to promote Steph, he's like, I think he is the second best point guard ever, because nobody thinks there's ever been someone who played the position better than Magic. Now, post-career, but during the career, nobody played the position better than Magic Johnson.
Right, and you can't forget his career was cut short.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was still playing at a super high level when he had to retire. And so, no, Magic Johnson. So, Magic, Oscar, Steph, Isaiah, John Stockton. There's your 5 greatest point guards
6,
of all
7,
time.
8 were hard.
6, 7, 8's hard because it's like Bob Cousy.
Yeah.
Bob Cousy had all those championships, but he couldn't make a college team today. What do you do? CP3 can't win, but his numbers are so good. Jason Kidd, don't forget, took 2 teams to the finals in the early 2000s.
I asked him about it.
Gary Payton, that defense, man, the original glove. Go ahead.
5 was great. That was the perfect finish. Coming up, do the Warriors need KD back to win the title?
It's hard to determine.
This is going to go on.
What about James Harden? I got him as the 5th greatest shooting guard ever. They list him as a point guard now.
Back after this.
He's got an MVP.
Darn it.